fish for my notes here. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Zach Gardner and the Sick Boys podcast.
Hello.
What's up?
No, it's welcome back to the Garden of Sports. We're your hosts, as always, Zach Gardner and my brother Jake Gardner.
Hello, hello.
And we're joined today by a special guest returning for a second week in a row, our cousin Kyle Forsythe. What's up, dude?
Hey, Dick.
And today is going to be our last football episode to prep you for the championship week. So, you know, it's bittersweet. You know, we've been with you all week, every week, telling you who to pick up. And I honestly don't know what we're going to do next weekend when we don't have to record another episode. That's kind of become commonplace now.
I just figured we could start a new podcast just about like knitting or like quilting or something like that.
Oh, we still have
we'd fill
basketball
that
and
space.
hockey.
Yeah, we still have basketball and hockey, true. And we're going to do quilting. That. And now quilting for sure. Add that to one of the sports. But yeah, so here we go. And just a little update. I like to skip scheduled podcasting days and just, you know, change we don't stick to a schedule anymore. Or I don't like schedules, basically, is what it comes down to. I'm just a free bird, you know. I just like to do my own. I'm just kidding. Yeah, it's been a rough, busy couple of weeks, but I am in 2 championship leagues out of 3. I'm in 2 finals out of 3 that I'm in, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I'm glad somebody that's doing this podcast.
And Jake's in the one that I'm not in because he just beat me in that league. So to make it to the finals.
Dang.
Yes, sir.
And he's actually playing Deanna for the championship, so that'll be fun.
Oh,
easy
Lord,
win.
So I'm technically in 2.5. I'm going to count that as a half win if Deanna wins because I helped her a lot. Anyway, what's been going on with you two?
Sick, man.
Yeah, I get the deadly COVID, so.
I got the vid as well. Different. We didn't even get it from each other either. Yep. We both got it from different people right around the same time, so we're both at home quarantining. So what better thing to do than to do some research on some fantasy football and be able to make an episode? Why not? Let's do it.
There you go. Hell yeah. So I'm sure you guys had plenty of time to watch football then.
I actually watched a bunch of basketball.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Kind of. So our next basketball episode is going to be pretty detailed.
Litty.
It was nice to like be able to watch games because usually I'm a little too busy. I can only catch the Bulls games and maybe like a primetime game. But yeah, good times.
Yeah, so we'll just jump right into surprises of the week here. I'll just kind of run down these. Joe Burrow. I mean, my lord, 38 fantasy points, 525 yards, 4 touchdowns. I think that's a pretty decent day there.
Yeah.
T. Higgins continuing his strong finish to the season. 37 fantasy points, almost 200 yards, 194 yards, and 2 TDs.
Dude, could he finish top 10 wideout?
I mean, he might.
I think this game bounced him to number 15.
Okay, so getting into the top 10 would probably be kind of tough, but he's already made top 15, which, you know, so who knows? 2 more games, he told that he definitely could. And then Justin Jackson, probably maybe the biggest surprise on here, 30.2 fantasy points, 64 yards, 2 touchdowns. Filled in very admirably for the injured Austin Eckler.
Yeah, beast mode.
Yeah. Rex Burkhead, 27.9 fantasy points, 149 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Vintage.
Vintage Rexy there. AJ Brown on his first game back, didn't miss a beat, 26 fantasy points, 145 yards, 1 touchdown. And then lastly, another big surprise, Isaiah Mckenzie, who kind of midweek became like a must-add player because Gabriel Davis went down and is going to be not even going to finish the year now. He had some kind of injury pop up. So Mckenzie now was wide receiver
I thought it was
2.
COVID.
Oh, is it COVID? Okay, COVID popped up. Okay,
I'm gonna double check. Go ahead.
I think it is COVID. I think I'm getting him mixed up with somebody else. But Isaiah Mckenzie, 24 fantasy points, 125 yards, and 1 touchdown. So those are the surprises of the week. Now we'll seamlessly transition over to storylines, and gonna question this to you two: are the Bills going to finish on top?
Ooh, yes. I don't. Oh, you think so? I don't know.
They just took it. It depended on this game, the past game, and they just won it. Whoever won that, I think, takes the division, right?
Yeah.
I would think so. Seeing how the Bills play the Falcons and then the Jets next, so I would think that yes, the Bills are going to take it.
Yeah, I think because they have the tiebreaker now. If they both finish 11-6, the Bills will win the division.
I can't remember.
They have it right now. They have the division.
Oh, gotcha. And they're tied now.
I say they split the games though. They split. The Patriots won the first one. They won the second one.
So they must have more division wins.
Yeah, so they must have more wins in the division then. Okay, that makes sense. And they're gonna get most likely get one more against the Jets, right?
I like how everyone, including myself, with the Patriots, was like, "Okay, here we go again. Patriots are great," and then now they're kind of falling off.
Yeah, but then I just wasn't quite thinking of the strength of schedule of the Bills. Kind of had on that 6 or 7 game win streak they went on. I mean, the Patriots 6 or 7 game win streak didn't really play anybody with the winning record on that run there. So maybe they were kind of fool's gold, and we were just mainly impressed because it was a rookie quarterback that was looking good, and that made it look.
Oh, it was the defense dominating
a little more, and the defense dominating. But
now they're like slowing down at the worst time.
Right. So, I mean, I'm kind of with you guys. I think the Bills will finish it, but I think it's going to come down to the wire, because I don't think the Bills are like a lot of people thought at the beginning of the year. I don't think they're like a powerhouse. So I still think the division's kind of up for grabs, but I think they're most likely going to get it.
I would think so. With the last 2 games, I mean, it's the Jets and the Falcons. Obviously, we saw that the Falcons, who did they play last week? They did not play very well against. Even though they won, that was the Lions. Yeah, the Falcons won 20-16 against the Lions, and it was a close game. I mean, I know that the Lions, like, that's probably like the 6th or 7th super close game that the Lions have had, where it's within like a touchdown. But I would think that they'll win. They'll probably win against the Falcons, and then I would think that they'd win against the Jets. So 2 wins to finish out the season. Whereas the Patriots, next they're going to Jaguars, so it should be a win. But then they're facing the Dolphins to finish out the season, and the Dolphins are on a 7-game win streak, which is fascinating to me that they're on a 7-game win streak. But
they're right. Right now they got the last playoff spot, so I mean that's kind of crazy.
It is crazy. It's honestly what a turnaround. What a turnaround! I can't even believe it.
Yeah,
it's been insane.
Tua actually looking pretty decent out there, making plays, and I mean, who would have thought?
They do have the last playoff spot?
Yeah, as of today, they do. They because I think they have more wins in the division, and they're tied with Baltimore. They have more wins in their division than Baltimore does.
And the Chargers, they're all tied.
And they're all tied. And I think
the Colts have the second.
Yeah, there's a third wild card spot that the Dolphins have. Yeah.
Oh, there's a 7. Dude, God.
Dolphins have the 7th seed.
And Raiders are tied. Wow, what a crazy.
So we'll see.
Remember we talked about it last week, though. All the teams that were 13 out of 16.
Yeah, which one of us picked Bengals, though, for that division? Are we all wrong?
I picked the Bengals, I'm pretty sure. I remember.
Both of us, then?
I thought I picked the Ravens.
I know I picked. Okay. I was going all Ohio. I thought the Bengals and Browns could win the division, so I went Ohio.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, not easy games for the Ravens to try and pull out of their 4-game losing streak, because then they play the Rams, and then they play the Steelers to finish out the season. They could go on a 6-game losing streak to end the season and possibly miss playoffs, depending on how the other teams do that. They're all tied for that last wild card spot. I don't know. Yeah, I said the Ravens. What I didn't think is that every single week Lamar Jackson, it just is bad news after bad news and just can't play. You know, I mean,
if he could somehow get back, they'd have a shot to make that 7th seed.
With him back, they have a far better chance. Without him, even as good as Huntley was last week, and I don't even know what he did this past weekend.
He didn't even play. It was Josh Johnson this last week. I think Tyler Huntley was like he was like a last second scratch.
I didn't see that.
Sorry to go to hockey terms there, but yeah, he was.
No, I love it. Interesting. See, so it's even more so a reason that obviously I think that the Bengals will be able to pull away. Not that they're going to be super easy because they got to face the Chiefs next, and then they go to the and then they're at the Browns. And as much as we say that the Browns are a good team. The Browns have made a lot of dumb football plays and everything like that basically every week, it feels like. And Baker Mayfield is so hot and cold, it's not even funny. But it's still not necessarily going to be an easy gimme game. So for the Bengals, I still, it's not necessarily like a gimme the last 2 games, but I still think that they'll probably take it at this point. Just judging that Lamar Jackson's out for Baltimore, I mean, that's a huge hit.
Yeah, and the Bengals, since we're kind of talking about them right now, they're I mean, in my eyes, they're definitely a dark horse. If they make it into the playoffs, I think they could surprise a couple higher seeds because that offense is really clicking right now, and I think that's a Super Bowl caliber offense, but not the defense isn't quite there yet. So I don't think they're a Super Bowl team, but I think they're a team that could win a game or two in the postseason if they should get in.
Joe Mixon is arguably a top 3 running back this year. When he's in, and you could argue now with the T. Higgins breakout second half that this is the best wide receiver duo in the league.
I would go so far as to say best wide receiver trio in the league.
Because Boyd's been picking it up, you mean? Yeah,
Boyd had a big day too. All 3 wide receivers had over 10 fantasy points, I believe. So it was just an all-around day for that whole offense.
Are they, dude? They're heating up at the right time. They could win one game in the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win the championship, but they could take one.
Yeah, I think next year, with a full off season for them, I think next year's the year to watch out for the Bengals. They're going to be like the Bills last year.
Heck yeah! Since we're in rebuild, we'll trade them Khalil Mack and
heck yeah,
give them a good defense.
So, talking about contenders now, are the Chiefs going to whiff in the Super Bowl again, or is their O-line and D-line good enough to get it done?
I feel like their defense has improved because last year they were the worst in the league, right?
This kind of seems like where the Chiefs always are. It seems like their defense always sucks, like the first half of the year, and then they pick it up and play like an amazing defense like the last 6 games. So you can't really ever judge them, I feel like, because there's so much good and so much bad they always put out there on film.
How is their O-line ranked though? Because remember in the Super Bowl, that's what beat them is Patrick Mahomes running for his life.
Well, they traded for a Pro Bowl left tackle, which I still can't believe the Ravens gave up, even though they got a couple first-round picks for it. They traded for Orlando Brown. He's been great. I don't know if he made the Pro Bowl this year, but he's a perennial Pro Bowl left tackle, so that fixed that. And then their
Chiefs are ranked 4th.
Yeah, their offensive line has been really good this year.
Yeah, they're up there. This was ranked 4th a couple weeks ago, but obviously they keep winning. So
their D-line depends on if Chris Jones is playing or not. If he's not playing, then they don't get any pressure at all. But if Chris Jones is in, he's elite, and that defensive line plays a lot better when he's in.
Okay.
For reference, Kansas City Chiefs defense last year was ranked 11th at the end of the regular season.
Whoa!
Yeah, they always finish. They finish very strong, but they always start very freaking bad.
Especially this year. This year was rough. I was about to say, wow, there's gonna be a new person. There's gonna be a new person in that division, but then they kind of broke out.
I know at one point they were ranked 25th.
So are they favorites to win it?
I mean, geez, at this point, I think so, man. I mean, they, their offense is not quite clicking on all cylinders, and they're still beating teams by 20.
Next best team to beat them is probably the Bills, and I just don't see it because they're so inconsistent.
I honestly think that if that matchup should happen at some point in the playoffs, I think the Bengals could knock them off in a shootout. But that's a maybe a bit of a hot take, but I like the Bengals as a.
Carroll's going to throw for 525 yards and 4 TDs. That's going to be pretty hard to beat. Even when you are Mahomes, obviously teams have figured out how to beat Mahomes this year, and they obviously the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were able to do it last year in the Super Bowl. You make him have to run for his absolute life too much to where he just struggles to make stuff happen because he's doing it too often.
Yeah,
and if he'd be able to do it, it'd be interesting.
There's a significant gap in wide receiver talent when you get past if you can figure out a way to just hold a little bit Tyreek Hill, I mean Travis Kelce seems to always run open though, so I don't they're hard to stop, but they got one wide receiver. I feel like their wide receiver core is not that good, but Tyreek Hill, he's a game wrecker. But if you have a defense that can slow him down a little bit, that's kind of how you can stop him.
I just appreciate how still we're going into the last 2 games of the season, including the added game, because this is the first year with 17 games, and we still have 3 out of the 4 AFC divisions that still are not clinched, with multiple teams that are either tied or 1 game away from each other, to where these next 2 games absolutely matter. And it would be fascinating to see week 17, when the Chiefs are going to be resting their starters and stuff, that we see teams that have to put in their starters, even though they have a winning record and they should be in no problem. It might matter. Come to the last week, it might matter for these divisions, and that's going to make for some really, really good football. I feel like in week 17, if these teams stay tied and then they have to go up against division matchups in week 17 to finish the season, it's going to be cool. I'm excited for it.
Oh yeah, definitely, man. This is going to be an awesome postseason too. I'm so excited that I'm off Sundays now.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome.
I get back Saturday night for those Saturday night playoff games. Oh man, I'm going to be glued to my TV. So next one, for the class, are the Eagles a dark horse?
They've been hot as of recently. They're on a 3-game win streak, but
or
that's
dark,
been against
dark bird, if you will.
Dark bird, that's fine. We can go with it. Dark meat, it's fine. But it's been against the Jets, Washington, and then the Giants. So
Those are some powerhouses.
I don't know. I mean, they did beat the Saints back in November on the 21st, but I don't know. They play Washington again, so that might be another win for them, especially now that Washington's really starting to struggle. I mean, you saw the defensive linemen were throwing punches at each other.
Yeah.
When Dak was just going off. I mean, they pulled Dak in the 3rd quarter. That's how much they just destroyed him.
Yeah.
So the Eagles might get a win there, but then they go against the Cowboys.
I was a little worried. I was hoping for the 50-point performance from Dak, but I got why they pulled him though. Why risk him getting injured when he, why risk it? That makes total sense. But me as a greedy little bastard, I wanted all the points.
You didn't need the points. You easily won to advance to the championship in our league.
Well, at that particular moment in time when I was watching the game, right then when they did pull him, I I was a little nervous just because it wasn't all. It didn't. All the games weren't over yet. So, and it was pretty close. And I was like, oh boy, I hope this doesn't screw me. Him not playing the fourth quarter, but it ended up working out. But because Amon-Ra St. Brown, and I guess is the pickup of the end of the year.
Second half, key grab.
Yeah, no, he's been awesome.
Yeah, but my opinion on the Eagles is they have some good performances out there, but I don't really think they're a team that's going to do anything. Mm-hmm. I don't see them winning a game in the postseason.
Hey Jake, what do you think? Listen, the Cardinals have been whiffing, and if they play them in the wild card round, why couldn't they win that? Their defense is above average, and their offense is dynamic because the quarterback can run and pass.
True. That's true. I just are the Eagles? Do they play as well on the road? Because that's going to be a matchup in
away. They're 5-3. They're worse at home. They're 3-4 at home.
So are the Cardinals. The Cardinals are 7-1 away. That's insane.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's so backwards, and that's exactly like their season. Their season is just been so chaotic. They were the undefeated team. They were the team to beat. Then they lost to Aaron Rodgers in a total duel, and then they've just not gotten back on their horse. And they're 7-1 away. I don't know, it's so goofy, but they're on a 3-game losing streak. So you never know. I mean, they already clinched a wild card if they don't win the NFC West, which I don't know if they will because the Rams. I feel like the Rams are probably going to win. They're on a 4-game win streak. The Rams have looked much better. They've gotten out of their funk. So it could happen, but I doubt
it. Odell looks like he's fitting in with the guys. Like, I guess he's playing well in the sandbox.
He is. I picked him up when he got dropped, obviously, when he wasn't playing. And he's honestly done really, really well. Since he's been with them, he's caught 4 touchdowns. Basically one a week.
Touchdown a game, that he's played. Yeah, he's looked great. He's looks like a good move for his career to go there, play for a Hall of Fame quarterback. Looks like
and his ego belongs in LA. It's perfect.
Yeah, he fits there for sure. Yeah, it all works. It all works out. So, is T. Higgins the lead wideout now?
Are we talking in general, or are we talking just...
over Jamar Chase?
I think on the Bengals, and I don't know because I feel like Jamar Chase is the reason T. Higgins is playing so well right now. I feel like teams are really focusing on Jamar Chase, and then T. Higgins is like, okay, time for me to catch some balls, boys.
Well, he also went off too, so I guess it's just 2 wideout ones.
I think it really is, and it just took T. Higgins a little bit, I think, to get used to. Because last year,
Joe Burrow,
last year T. Higgins was kind of just like, okay, I mean, I'm the best wide receiver on this team. Just he was just kind of knew his place last year because he was the talent. Then they bring in a guy that's just more talented than him, or maybe they're equal talent level or whatever. It took them a little while to figure out the whole camaraderie of the team and everything. And I just think that they bought in as an offense of what they're gonna do, and everybody's doing their role and is like, yeah, we can win like this, and everybody's doing their part,
Yeah, and just I think Joe Burrow getting comfortable again and learning both wideouts more because, I mean, he only had a little bit of time with T. Higgins last year, right? Before he went down, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember how many games. But we've obviously seen in the past, though. I mean, look at the Falcons with Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. That offense was able to easily support both of them fantasy-wise. You got to have an offense and a quarterback who's able to sling it. And when you have that top guy that draws more of the double coverage, then you get this other guy who is extremely talented, who gets the single coverage far more often and is able to to capitalize off of that, and then they switch the double coverage. They switch to the other guy, and then
they have the third guy that runs a little hook route for like 15 yards, and ends up scoring a 70-yard touchdown. So I'm
right. But I think that I agree with Jay that they're both I think they're both kind of like a wide receiver 1 and 1-2 in this offense, especially right now with Joe Burrow throwing it. We already talked about how well he did this past week. So if he's going to keep throwing it like that, there's no reason that either of them can't be labeled as like a wide receiver 1 and a wide receiver 1-2. So
and I gotta say, watching that game, watching Joe Burrow navigate that pocket, watching Joe Burrow like change plays at the line, and just watching him navigate that pocket and just like finding all the areas to step up and finding all the seams to throw. I mean, dude, that was football porn. I was in hog heaven watching that.
Who's gonna have a better career, Joe Burrow or the Chargers quarterback?
Oh man, that is a great question. I think both of them are going to at least win one Super. I think both of them are going to at least have one Super Bowl. We'll see which one has more success by the end of their careers, but I think both of those guys. I think both of those guys are on great trajectories.
Which one is Phillip Rivers and which one is who is the Saints quarterback? Drew Brees.
Okay.
I feel like that's their tier. Like they're not the Patrick Mahomes of their era. They're not the Tom Brady, but
that's yet to be seen. They're both in only their second year. Both are.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're Patrick Mahomes quality, but I don't know. I think. Wow, that's a really good question. I think Burrow. I think Burrow's going to have the better career. Herbert is super good and impressive, but I just feel that where Burrow landed with the Bengals franchise that drafted him and showed not only in the offseason but in the draft that they are willing to build around this guy and build it properly. And actually, like this year, they like completely revamped the offensive line after they failed to protect him and he completely got his knee blown out last year.
Their offensive line still is not.
It's not great, but they still did a lot to try and fix things. They went out, they got him more receivers and everything too. They got him the receiver that he wanted and that he played with in college in Jamar Chase. So I don't know. I think that Burrow is going to be a little bit better. There's just something about the way that he throws the ball that you just watch him and go, this looks easy for you.
You watch, and I feel like you can feel that way watching Herbert too. I watched the both of them, and there's never a second that I doubt that they just know how to play the quarterback position very well, and that they're going to make the right decision most of the time. I just never feel like I feel when I watch Bears games, and I'm like, okay, they don't know, they don't have a clue out here. It's just looks totally different, and I always feel like they're in control. They always just have that suave confidence, both of them, so well. They're both so confident, and I think that's a lot of playing the quarterback position is if you're not confident, you're not going to succeed.
For sure. No, I agree.
And then moving on to the next point here is Sony Michel taking over lead back duties in LA.
So what I mean by that, Daryl Henderson
is going to be more of a competition when they're both healthy.
Well, he's on IR, but Cam Akers is back.
Oh.
So it's between like Sony Michel and Cam Akers. And they liked Cam Akers. I know he's coming off a big injury, but they wouldn't let him on the field if he wasn't 100%.
Yeah, can we talk about how what did he do? Did he tear his Achilles and he's back in like 6 months? Can we talk about how insane that is?
Was it the Achilles?
Was it the? It was either right. It was the Achilles or it was the ACL. It was something that's normally like a full year, and he's back in like half the time.
Or an Achilles. Yeah, they said remarkable that he's back.
Remarkable.
Yeah, that's. I
don't know. Wow. Yeah,
that's. I
would say Sony Michel is the lead back for now because he's at least proven on the field several games now that he can go off.
Yeah, he saw a shaman.
But they sorry, they love Cam Akers, so That's why I was posing the question.
Yeah, they do. I don't know. They're probably going to go by committee then. They'll probably just do a 50-50 because I still don't think Michelle is a great lead back. I feel like he's serviceable. I feel like Sony Michel will still do good in a 50-50. You know, he'll do well enough. But I feel like they'll probably do a 50-50 just because Sony Michel's been playing good instead of giving Cam Akers. And they'll want to do that to kind of have Cam Akers get back into the game a little bit, you know?
I got you.
They'll probably, I don't know. I feel like they're probably going to be a little more gentle getting him in. They need him. They definitely need him back for the playoffs. I don't think they're going to throw him in and throw him to the Wolves in the first game back. I still think, at least for this game, Sony Michel is probably still the lead back. Not as much, obviously, as he was, but I think that probably it'd be the next game, you know, the last game against the 49ers, that would maybe, in my mind, not be so much Sony Michel being the lead back. But obviously that game probably most likely does not matter for any fantasy relevance whatsoever. So,
yeah.
And then I had one that was interesting. Are we done talking about Sony Michel? Or do you have another point, Jake?
No,
we can talk. We can talk about the green sheet of magic that Cam Akers used, but to get back,
I was gonna make a joke about. Remember, there was the rumor that LeBron James and like a bunch of other professional athletes would go overseas in the offseason and kind of get drugged up. That was a couple of years ago, or like 5 years ago.
No, I don't remember that at all.
Oh, Jake and I had plenty of conversations about that.
Oh, I gotcha.
That's like they would go over. They would go overseas and juice, basically.
Yeah, that's a rumor.
Got it.
We like.
That's
our
how they always stayed prime
theories.
time. But yeah, I was just gonna make a joke that that's what Cam Akers had to do. They sent him over. They're like, we got to win a championship this year, so we need this guy back.
Yeah,
juice him up.
Juice him up. just straight to the Achilles, man.
They're using stem cell research, you know, get that thing healed up.
Titanium, man. It grew and it created titanium. It's never going to be injured again.
Good.
One that I wanted to talk about is that it's a receiver that you guys have been talking about all year, DJ Moore with the Panthers. And really just any Panthers receiver / running back, for the most part, just seems to be suffering from the inability of them to try and figure out what the heck they're doing at the quarterback position. You know, Darnold isn't playing very well at all. Newton comes back. Newton starts for a few games. He's basically the same Cam Newton that we saw when they let him go. Yeah. So any hope for these guys, especially DJ Moore? I'm sure a lot of people still have him as a starter in the roster.
No.
I wouldn't even play him championship week.
Yeah, I'm kind of off that whole train.
That's so scary. I mean, like, if it's your best flex option only, but I find that hard to believe that's your best option with the guys we're going to talk about.
Yeah, right. It's just too scary. You know, that's too volatile of a situation. It would be a flex play at best, and that would be. I'd still be nervous about that. You know.
Right. I would be too. In half-point PPR, the past 3 weeks, 11.4, 9.8, 8.0, all with at least with double-digit targets.
That's DJ Moore.
DJ Moore, still getting the volume, but obviously not having the good enough passes when you have these quarterbacks that they're swapping in and out because the other guy keeps throwing interceptions.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not terrible for a flex for DJ Moore. If you put him in and you're like, okay, you can get me like 9 or 10. You feel like
what's Carolina's matchup?
Any of the other receivers would be a hard pass, like Robbie Anderson or one of the, like something like that. I'm even a little bit staying away from Chuba Hubbard too. Like, I think there's better running back options out there.
Right. Next, the Panthers go to the Saints and then the Buccaneers to finish out the season.
And the Saints are like
Saints have a good run defense. I know.
Well, they have a bunch of guys on the COVID list. They have like the most out of anybody in the league.
So maybe DJ Moore is a good flex this week. He might get you an unexpected 12 or something, 13.
Right.
But that he'd be the only one. I wouldn't definitely not start any of the. I definitely wouldn't start anybody else on that offense. Probably.
Speaking about not starting anyone else on an offense, how about the Miami offense? Even with 7 straight wins, it seems that the only person that is possibly fantasy relevant seems to be Jalen Waddle, with Gaskin, Parker, Tua, Gasecki, and Smythe all being underperformers, even though there's all the other top guys on this offense.
I do
Anybody
like
from
Parker.
there?
I do like Parker, but Jalen Waddle's just had he's just been more consistent, when he's in. Parker I'd like Parker, but I do like Devontae Parker, but Jalen Waddle's been pretty well. I think Parker had a bad week this week, and I think it was one of his first bad weeks.
Yeah, he didn't play. No targets either. I don't think he was injured though.
Okay, yeah, no, he just had his first bad week, because when he has been in this year, he's been pretty good. So I did like him going into this week.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
He put up zeros across the board. I don't know what's up with that. He's not injured though, so I wonder what was up. He was supposed to be the wide receiver 1 because they weren't sure if Waddle was going to be healthy to go. He was a game time decision. Interesting. But anyway, I just thought that was fascinating. 7 straight wins, and it still seems like none of the Miami offense is fantasy relevent or can even try to help your team.
Yeah, it's been their defense. Their defense has been scoring points, scoring touchdowns. Yeah, it's been pretty insane.
So, if you have Miami's defense, congratulations. Keep them on your roster. Don't let them go.
Yeah, they have helped me in our league that I'm in with you guys, Kyle and Jake. They did definitely help me get to the playoffs, because the Patriots kind of had a rough stretch there for 3-4 weeks where they just weren't playing as good because they were playing a lot better of teams, and
right.
I just had to hold on for a couple of weeks to make it to this week so that I could play the Patriots against the Jets, and luckily I was able to make it this far.
I'm happy for you. I'm so unbelievably happy for you. You know that? Gosh, the happiness flowing through my veins.
You know what? Thank you, man. I really. It's good to hear. It's good to hear. Get the support for Team Zach. What's my name in that league? Is that Baby Got Dak? Because I got Prescott.
Yeah, that's what
Baby
it is.
Got Dak. Yeah, Team Baby Got Dak.
And then you changed it last year after he got hurt, because you had him last year and then he got hurt, and you changed your name. Oh my God. Yeah. Anyway, hey Jake, you have COVID. I have COVID. Who else is joining us on the old COVID couch sitting at home this week?
Yes. Let me go through the COVID list.
Breaking news.
So I'm just going to list the fantasy relevant players on the COVID list, and then we will link the rest of the NFL list.
For sure.
So here we go. Here's the COVID list entries. Carson Wentz. Ooh, your backup QB. Gone. Quentin Cephas for the Lions. Probably their number 2 wideout, and people were kind of high on him as a grab. So he's out. David Johnson. Brandon Cooks. That's an ouch. Marlon Mack. Dan Arnold. Travis Kelce. But I believe Travis Kelce is going to be back. He just almost made this last week, so he should be back coming up here.
Marlon Mack's fantasy relevant, huh?
Harrison Butker. Austin Eckler is back off the COVID list. So that just the run for Jackson is gone, but hopefully he got you into the championship. Dalvin Cook, Ramondre Stevenson, Taysom Hill, Elijah Moore, Leonard Fournette, Mike Evans, Julio Jones, Mike Williams, Gabriel Davis. And then, like I said, we'll link it. And then also there's a bunch of kind of major regular injuries too that huge fantasy impact. So I'll go through those real quick as well. Lamar Jackson ankle, he has a chance to practice Wednesday. So I don't know, it's seeming more and more like a lost season for the team.
But if he could get back,
maybe. Derek Carr ribs. They just said they're sore ribs. That's all it said. So No time frame. I'm sure he'll play. They'll try to muscle through because they're fighting for a playoff spot.
For sure.
James Conner heel is day to day. Jimmy Garoppolo UCL tear and fractured his right thumb.
Jesus.
So we'll go over replacement options in our scoop 'em up section. Teddy Bridgewater concussion still in protocol as of Monday. Adam Thielen is feeling sore. He left the game early, so that makes me feel like he re-injured the same thing that he came back from.
Yeah,
and yeah, we'll get more into that coming up in the scoops.
This next one hurts.
James Robinson Achilles tore it. He's on injured reserve.
So is there a chance he could get back next week for the championship?
I think he's going to call Cam Akers.
Talk to Cam Akers.
Streamline that shit. Yeah, I agree. Darrell Henderson Jr. knee MCL sprain is on injured reserve. Clyde Edwards-Helaire bruised shoulders week to week. So you hate to hear that going into championship week. You can't really play him. So I think we need to add his backup to the scoop him up if one of you could.
Yeah, Darrell Williams.
He did really good when Clyde was out the first time.
And was still doing good with him back, too.
Yeah, he was kind of just still being used because he could he can catch.
Yeah.
So, Jaden Mckissick concussion is on injured reserve, so I guess it was just a really bad concussion because he's missed 3 weeks, and he can't even practice.
Mm-hmm.
Miles Sanders, broken hand, will be out for week 17, like they already guaranteed that. So, Darren Waller, knee/back. Optimism, he will take part in the walkthrough, said the interim head coach. So we'll find out. If you've been holding Waller, you're hoping for one last run. And then Kareem Hunt ankle wasn't present at Tuesday's practice.
Damn.
So that's your injury updates. Let's break it into scoops.
Scoopity up, scoop them up. Scoop them up, boys.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, you guys want to run that, Kyle?
We're workshopping it.
Your first guy here.
I can run this top one. So we talked about Garoppolo being out, and they were saying that Drew Brees, Matt Stafford, they all had the same injury that he did. You had some guys that were able to come back and play through it sooner than others, but like Drew Brees needed surgery on his. Obviously, though, none of those guys came back and played the next week. So I would think it's pretty certain that Garoppolo is going to be out. If you need another guy, there's a possibility of Trey Lance, who could be starting then in that San Fran. He's only owned at 4.8% in ESPN leagues. In the games where he was playing, he was 52% for his passes, but for 354 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception, but then 137 yards on 30 rushing attempts and 1 touchdown rushing. So if there's a guy and you're desperate, it could be somebody, if there's not a lot of people to pick up, it could be someone that you could grab that might be able to get you some points on an offense that needs to perform to try and get it into these playoffs.
Yeah, I do like that if you need a quarterback, like if your starting quarterback's hurt or something. Trey Lance
and the next game
is a good pick
is against the Texans. So you're talking about a little bit weaker defense, a little bit weaker offense, probably more ball time that he can have, maybe a little bit more time in the pocket to be able to pick his throws, not as much pressure up in his face. Might be a good game. If you really need someone desperately, he might be a good desperate pickup.
Okay.
Yeah, then Justin Jackson with Austin Eckler now off the COVID list. Is he just a drop? I just wanted to talk about him real quick.
Yeah, I think he is a drop. Because Eckler will, if he's off the COVID list, he'll be back, and it's not like he had an injury or something where they're gonna have to ease him in. He's gonna get back to his workload. So yeah, I think that would be a drop.
For sure. All right, then Isaiah Mckenzie went off this last week with Gabriel Davis out on the COVID list, and they play Atlanta next week. Is he a must grab?
I think he's maybe not a must grab, but I think he's like a safe grab. You could at least have on your bench in case Gabriel Davis is not gonna play again.
How high? You know what? We'll come back to it. Let's each rank our top 3 grabs after we go through them all.
Okay.
Next one I had was Dare Ogunbowale. I have him as a must grab. Agumbawale, there we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
I have him down as a must grab because with Robinson being out with a partial Achilles tear, he's for sure out on IR. He's now going to be the RB1. He's only owned in 0.2% of leagues. I understand that he's on Jacksonville, but you're also talking about a Jacksonville team that was able to have Robinson get enough of volume week to week to be able to be fantasy relevant and honestly be a really vital part of a lot of playoff / championship runs this year in fantasy. So you're talking about a guy that last week on short notice went in against the Jets, 17 attempts, 57 yards for 1 TD. He got 15.2 points in full PPR. You got him with another week of practice with the number one squad, another week of being able to work with these guys and try and get better at that number one offense. I don't remember who the Jets are playing next week, though. Let me go take a look. Buccaneers. Or I'm sorry, not the Jets, the Jacksonville
Jaguars are playing New England.
New England.
Tough defense.
Tough defense. But again,
he can catch passes.
Yes.
And he could do a goal line drive, get a touchdown.
Yeah, so I think he'd still be a guy you can start because the volume will be there at least.
And he's not owned. So if all of a sudden Robinson is out of your starting lineup, it could be another guy in RB1 that will get touches at least have a chance to get you points versus the slim pickings that's probably in the rest of your free agents to pick up.
For sure. Byron Pringle, 75 yards, 2 TDs for Kansas City. Is he going to be the number 2 wideout moving forward, or was it just a fill-in game?
I don't think it was quite a fill-in game. He's had a chip on his shoulder all season, so I think that he's going to keep it up.
So with Kelsey coming back, is that going to hurt him, or can he keep it up? For sure.
I think he can keep it up. Byron Pringle, he's Cincinnati,
player. Which you predicted if they matched up in the playoffs, it would be a shootout.
Mm-hmm.
So he could still be relevant. I don't know how high he is on my list, but he's a grab.
He's a guy I probably wouldn't put a claim in for. I would just see if he's available like after waivers clear.
That's fair. Yeah.
No one laughed at my chip on the shoulder joke. I'm kind of sad.
Oh my god.
You know what? I blame COVID brain because I didn't get it, but here, let me offer you a laugh in retrospect.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I feel
no. What about
oh my god,
Keyshawn Vaughn? 13 fantasy points, 70 yards, 1 TD, and they play the Jets next week. Is he a grab for you guys?
I don't even
Tampa
know much
Bay
about
running
him,
back.
to be completely honest.
Tampa Bay running back.
I mean, obviously, because Fournette's going on the COVID list, or he's coming off of the COVID list.
He's on injured reserve, but he's also on the COVID list, so he's out.
But yeah, he has an injury and COVID. Yeah,
I didn't even.
Yeah,
he's got like a hammy and COVID.
Just getting kicked while he's down is what it sounds like.
Yeah,
and I know we've talked about Ronald Jones, but
I mean, Ronald Jones still did good. I mean, I don't know. I was kind of surprised that Keyshawn Vaughn did as well.
Yeah,
because I mean, Ronald Jones is a good pass catcher. So, but I mean, maybe he is. If they're playing the Jets, he'll probably still get some play. So,
yeah, it might only be deep league, but
yeah, it's definitely a deep league move. But it could be a good one.
KJ Osborne.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were done, buddy.
All right.
KJ Osborne. I think he's a must grab because Adam Thielen re-injured himself, but there's no guarantee Thielen's out yet. But this is a guy you can go out and get, and people were high on when Thielen was out. What do you guys think?
Definitely. With the possibility of Thielen being hurt again, Osborne's a definite scoop for sure.
And he was dropped because Thielen was back, so he's down to under 30% owned.
29.6.
Yep. Definitely a scoop.
I think he is. I mean, so past 4 games, against Detroit, Pittsburgh, at Chicago, and then the Rams in half-point PPR. He was 12.7, 15.8, 3.6, and then 15.3. They're at Green Bay, which is a huge matchup, being that it's going to be a really tough one because, unfortunately for us to say, the Packers are playing really well right now. The defense for the Packers is playing well, but you never know with Thielen being out. He might be the only guy that's able to get free and be able to catch stuff. I think that he's definitely, if you have room, I think he's a grab for flex just to watch.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Chris Connolly, the Houston wide receiver, had a pretty good game, 60 yards and 1 TD, and Brandon Cooks is on the COVID list. So is this guy kind of taking over as the lead wide out there in Houston? I know it's Houston, but still, they need to pass to somebody.
Yeah, it is Houston, but Davis Mills is actually, playing pretty well at quarterback for them. And if he's clicking with Connolly, that definitely is an underrated move that you probably wouldn't even have to put a waiver in for this guy, and you could probably just grab him if you wanted.
I think you'd be able to just grab him.
Yeah.
I don't know. For me, looking at the games before then, though, I mean, he threw up goose eggs on 4 attempts, no catches against Indy, 3 points, 2.2, and this past week, only 3 catches and only 3 passes. He was 3 for 3 with his attempts with his targets that he was given. They go to San Fran, who is battling for that last playoff spot in the NFC. I would imagine they're going to come out super hard and be a hard defense. They're going to try and shut things down. I don't know. I think that I would probably look elsewhere, but that's just me.
He's probably a desperate move. Yeah, now that you say that, you say his stats and stuff. He seems like he's touchdown dependent to be fantasy relevant. So that's a tough one, but it could be an unexpected move that could pay off. Sometimes those happen, but yeah, I'd probably be looking elsewhere before I would get to him.
Right.
For sure. I'm going to skip over the defense and kickers real quick, and we'll hit the other, more fantasy relevant players. Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
He whiffed this week, but they play the Jags next week, and he's still only 54% owned, so I feel like we still have to mention him.
Scoop him up.
Must grab. Yeah, they had a bad game, but the Bills defense is the number 2 defense to the Patriots, if not the number 1 now. So
yeah,
they focused him and shut him down, but that won't happen against the Jaguars.
No, Henry's going to probably score 2 touchdowns against the Jaguars this weekend. So
for sure,
and he had 6 targets too, so he still had the volume there. He just wasn't able to haul them in / good defense. So it's not like he wasn't getting passes at all. The volume is there, and you go against, like you said, against Jacksonville. I feel like he can rebound, which is the perfect time for him to rebound is championship week.
For sure.
Rashad Penny, 135 yards, 1 touchdown, and he's been being dropped. If someone can explain that to me, he's down 8.5% to 44.2. I feel like he's a must grab going into the finals. He's available. They're playing Detroit next week.
Yeah, that's a grab. It's a grab for sure. He did good against a pretty good run-stopping defense, too.
So,
the Bears,
you got to check if people dropped him in your league. He's been dropped. Very available, and looks like just a monster out there.
Yeah, I mean, what idiot would have dropped him, last week? Definitely not me. I definitely didn't do that.
I'm gonna take a wild guess that you did, seeing as how he's not on your team.
Yeah, I did. I don't think I had him in our league, but I had him in one league. I can't remember which one, and I dropped him.
Was there another running back?
Is he the starter, though?
He is, but I didn't think he'd do good against the Bears, so I was just like, okay. But
I don't know.
He did good against the Bears.
The old Bears that are basically already hibernating. They have been for the past 7 weeks.
I know. I'm not biased at all.
must grab Rashad Penny.
I agree. I'll agree.
I think he is, yeah.
So Boston Scott, I wanted to talk about him with you guys.
You mean Philly Scott?
Yeah, Philly Scott. Howard is out with a stinger injury. That's basically how they listed it. Miles Sanders broke his hand, so he's to miss next week. So it's Gainwell and Scott, and we know Scott's been doing better for them the second half of the year. Is he a must grab?
I mean, I don't know about
any of the guys
grab.
that are on the list.
They play Washington next week.
He's like a grab. Like I'd probably pick him if I absolutely couldn't get like Rashad Penny. Let's say I miss out on the Rashad Penny claim, and then it's like, okay, who am I looking for now? And then I'll eventually get to Boston Scott, and I'll be like, okay, well, speculative ad kind of. Because he's been like on our scoop list before, and then he just flounders. So, and the same thing with Gainwell. You never know which one's going to go off when the two of them are the two running backs. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like a crapshoot on both of those guys.
Yeah, you have no idea. You're right. Whenever they have to go something like that, it is always just a committee, and then it's always a toss-up.
They're not using Gainwell though, and it was a committee with Jordan Howard. But if Jordan Howard doesn't play,
it's really only a stinger. I saw that the coach was optimistic that he was going to be able to try and play.
Really? Okay. Well,
okay.
I thought so. But you obviously never know with stingers though.
Yeah.
Could play Sunday depending on how quickly the running back recovers from the stinger that he suffered.
It's his neck, though. I feel like they're pretty careful with necks. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one to call.
That's what they called that. I mean, if you remember back to like week, I don't know, 4 or 5, that's what they were saying with Chris Carson. Now, stinger in the neck,
true.
And here he is.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you just never know. You never know if it truly is just something, something mild like a stinger is actually supposed to be, if they're just using it to cover up the possibility of a more serious thing.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but then if he's going to play hurt, they'll utilize him as a committee, I guess, but not the main back.
Yeah. So, I mean, Boston Scott's definitely a guy you could think about, but I don't think he's like one of the top 3 maybe top. How many running backs do we even have on here? I mean, he's not he wouldn't be my top. I would still go Rashad Penny, and even I'd go Keyshawn Vaughn over him. And Ogunbowale. I would put those 3 over in any order over Boston Scott.
Is also a committee.
Yeah.
And then we talked about Ogunbowale.
Ogunbowale.
They play the Patriots.
I like him too, even against the Patriots. I like all of them, all 3 of those guys, not in no particular order, over Boston Scott. Boston Scott's my 4th though of the list so far.
For sure. Oh well, this is the list for me. Do you guys have any other players? Oh, you know what? Sorry, the defense and kickers.
Yeah.
So I just threw like a defense out there because if you're in a competitive league, the good ones already are grabbed. But
right.
So now you're just playing matchups. So I picked Giants against Chicago on Sunday.
No respect for the Bears.
No, the Giants probably don't have it, and neither do I.
Yeah, I mean, I can follow the calculus on this move, but with my Bears fan bias, I feel like the Bears offense is going to do pretty good this week, so I wouldn't start the Giants defense. That would be very ballsy for sure. I just think David Montgomery always plays well. Like, he played great against the Giants last year, and they've lost from the defense that they had last year. I just think David Montgomery is going to be able to do whatever he wants, and I feel like Foles is going to throw at least 2 touchdowns. So, I mean, I feel like it's going to be a good week for the Bears offense. I think they're going to score 30 points.
Wow. Okay. Probably not. But
I told you.
Who would you stream over him if you had to stream a defense then?
So, yeah, I mean, I can see why people would be thinking about the Giants defense for sure. The Bears have earned that. Definitely. Kyle, I'm gonna let you talk about it if you have someone first while I check out some defenses here.
Seahawks are playing Detroit, but Detroit's offense, like we said, has Amon-Ra St. Brown. I don't trust that at all. And the Detroit offense is ranked way better or a decent amount better than the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
Titans are playing Miami. We know Miami's hot. Browns are playing Pittsburgh, so maybe you do that one.
Maybe.
Yeah, the Browns defense could be something. I mean, Roethlisberger. The Browns played great against Pittsburgh the first time they played. If I remember correctly.
Those are the top 4 available in. Which league am I in? In our 12-team league.
Yeah. I would. The Giants. They are picked for a decent amount of points this week, but
one of the defenses that's the least picked up that I think probably has the best matchup is the Broncos. They're only rostered in 54.4% of leagues in ESPN. They're at the Chargers next. However, they were able to stay positive. They had scored 6 points against Kansas City, 6 points against Cincy, and 9 points against Las Vegas. So they've gone up against some pretty high caliber offenses there with teams who are really fighting for a spot. They were able to show that they're able to at least not be negative, because you never want to shoot yourself in the foot with defenses. And they were able to get some pretty okay points there and be able to stay. Going up against the Chargers, who have been good, but have shown during the season that if the defense they're hot and cold. And if the defenses can play them the right way, they've shown that they can be in some trouble sometimes. So if the Broncos only 54.4% owned, if they're available, that'd be my pick for a defense, just because of all the other teams that are really available that aren't, the top 15 teams that have defenses are all have terrible matchups that I wouldn't recommend doing.
And I do like the Browns matchup against Pittsburgh. I just don't like that it's Monday night. If that could be, if your championship is relying on your Browns defense playing Monday night, if you're like down 5 points and you got the Browns playing Monday night, I feel like that's you're begging for disappointment there. I think that's where the Browns are like, oh, this is the Browns, and then you have that moment of like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So maybe stay
honestly,
away.
Right now with Big Ben, you have no idea what
he'll either
Big
throw
Ben's
500 yards and like 4 touchdowns, or he'll throw like 150 and like 3 interceptions. You don't know.
You have no idea. So at that point, I don't necessarily trust, because it's going to be your luck that Big Ben is going to have one of those games where, oh my God, it's a renaissance. Old Big Ben is back. He beats the Browns on national television on a Monday night, and then you're sitting there looking at your phone going, I cannot believe this is what I chose.
And the Browns are going to brown.
The Browns are going to brown. And they've shown us that they do that all season long. So.
Yeah, they brown their shorts.
My God.
The dad jokes are back. We need a button. We need a dad joke button that we can press for him. All right, what do you got for kickers here, Jake? I'm so proud of you for putting in some kickers and defenses this week. I didn't have to do it.
Yeah, this thumbnail's going to look lit.
Yeah, no, Ryan Suckup. I haven't been there because Tampa Bay doesn't have other weapons, so they're going to be settling for more field goals. Last week they had 16, or he had 16 fantasy points.
Yeah.
And they're playing the Jets next week, so I think there's going to be plenty of options, or amount of times he's going to kick it.
Yeah, sure. I just feel like they're going to score. I still feel like Tampa Bay is going to score more touchdowns though against the Jets. So maybe, but he's definitely still a guy who definitely worth to add. I mean, for sure, but.
Yeah, and then I have Young Ho Koo for Atlanta. They're playing Buffalo's defense, so I feel like they're only going to be kicking field goals.
Yeah, that seems like a good matchup, kicking-wise, for sure.
Then you also run the risk of them being shut down. But I like to think he could kick a few.
Yeah, I think he'll kick a few.
He's got a good leg.
Yeah,
I feel like
barely owned.
Oh, neither of them are. Young Ho Koo is 39.7%, and then Suckup, I just looked it up. It was even lower than that, which is crazy to me because Suckup used to be like one of the top guys. He's
same with Koo.
29.7. True. Well, Koo last year was
so
one of the top. Well,
yeah.
Koo last year was one of the top 3 kickers.
Yeah, he was great last year.
just putting them through. I think either option, but obviously Young Hoku I think is probably more so for the kickers. But if you need someone that is at least that is going to have some good offensive prowess and isn't going to get completely shut down, it's not a bad idea to pick up Suck Up. Because at least, even if they score touchdowns, he's at least going to be able to attempt extra points. And at least it's points that go on the board, and he's not just going to throw up goose eggs. Because that's almost the worst when your kicker does that.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you can still go check on Evan McPherson. He's number 3 kicker again. He's been doing great, over the last month. Basically been doing great all season. Cincinnati kicker. Number 3. And he's still only 35% rostered, and he's got a juicy matchup against Kansas City this week. I think he'll get plenty of kicking opportunity again. So if he's available, he's definitely worth an ad, a top 3 kicker.
I'm surprised. See, you talked about him last week, and 5.6% of people added him, Zach. So
I know.
People are
moving
listening
the needle
to you, man. Moving the needle. No, that's still shocking to me that he's the third highest scoring kicker right now in fantasy, and he's only 35% owned according to ESPN. That's insane.
I guarantee you, man. I think it's people are seeing Cincinnati and they're not clicking on him.
True. I mean, it is.
People aren't believing in Cincinnati yet, and I feel like anybody that clicks on him is like, whoa, he's number 3, and then they would add him. But I feel like people are scrolling past him.
So in the past, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Past 6 weeks, 5 out of the 6 he's had double-digit points.
Yeah, he's been great.
With his best one was week 11, where he had 21 points against Las Vegas. But 5 of 6 weeks he's been double digits. Now you're going into possibly an offensive shootout against the Chiefs. 35% owned. Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. Pick him up.
That's definitely worth a go and check for sure.
I would agree. Even depending on who you have, if you don't have the number 1 or number 2 kicker, which I don't even know who they are honestly anymore because they've changed so much.
Number 1 is Nick Folk, Patriots kicker.
Rightfully so. Mm-hmm. He has kicked a lot of field goals. But if you don't have the top 2, why are you not getting McPherson? Honestly, I would take the risk depending on who you have. If you don't have the number 1 or 2, I almost would take a gamble on them because if you can get a few extra points, that could be the difference between championship and second place.
Yeah, definitely. This is the time to try and upgrade as much as you can going into your championship, and that's every position for sure. It's all hands on deck.
You'd hate to be at the end of the championship game saying, "I wish I would have done more."
Right.
Because
at least you could be like, "Well, this is pretty much all I can do. I feel like I'm upgrading my team, so now just the ball is in the football god's hands."
Right. Right. You'd hate to sit there and say, I had the chance. I didn't pick him up. I would have won had I done it. You'd hate to sit there and say, I didn't do enough. I should have done more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you listen to Garden of Sports podcast for all of your fantasy needs, whether it's basketball, hockey, baseball, or football that's ending. You want to make sure that you tune into these guys. Make sure you go onto YouTube, subscribe to them, turn on the bell so you don't miss any of the episodes. Make sure that you follow them on social media as well, as there's always updates about when episodes are dropping. Make sure to give them a listen to. These guys do fantasy all the time to try and get you there. These guys are in championships every single year with every single sport. So you guys got to be listening to them because they got the download to try and get you guys your own championships to be able to win and rub it in all your friends and family faces.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Thank you,
It's all about bragging rights.
Absolutely about bragging rights.
Listen, who are your guys' top 3 scoops after all these guys we talked about?
Top 3 scoops. All right.
I have mine, but I'll go last.
All right, Kyle, you wanna take her first, or you want me to go?
God. Oh man, put me on the spot. Jeez, wow. Man, we only talked about one quarterback. That's kind of funny, but I don't know. I don't know if I go. I don't think I put Trey Lance on there. I think he's like my honorable mention, just because I feel like he's got the talent. Tough matchup, but still, if I got someone, I think that he'd be someone to go with. I do like. I know that I put him on here, and I have him on there, but Ogunbowale, I just think that RB1, he's going to get touches. It's on a Jacksonville team that showed that they can support James Robinson. I feel like if you are totally out a running back with any of the COVID or anything, this is a guy that can fill in and hopefully get you at least some points to try and get you to where you need to be. So I think that he'd probably be my number 3. I don't know. Rashad Penny, I still can't believe is not picked up. He's, I don't know. Maybe he's my number 1. He might be my number 1. And my number 2, I really think that Isaiah McKenzie could be really good. They play Atlanta. Gabriel Davis is still on the COVID list.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy, last week he had a really good game. The weeks before that weren't great, but you never know. And especially against Atlanta, they're going to go out probably guns blazing, and probably pulling out a few more different plays to try and test the plays before going into playoffs so that they have some in their back pocket of what works, what doesn't. Teams usually do that against the worst teams. Just kind of get a little bit of practice and see how far they could get the playbook to go. So those are my top 3, with my top 1 being Rashad Penny. If you don't have him, I think it's dumb. You need to have him. He's a top running back in a good system. Seattle is not as good as they have been in years past. I think we're all kind of reeling at that, especially with how many of us drafted their players real high up this year. But I think that he's still one of the top picks.
Don't be dumb. Pick up Rashad Penny.
We get it put on a shirt.
No, did you say your 3, Kyle?
Yeah,
I said my 3.
Did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And my 3 are, I'm going to put Rashad Penny 1. It's pretty almost going to mirror Kyle. I'm pretty sure. There's going to be one difference. So Rashad Penny is my 1. I have KJ Osborne as my 2, and Isaiah McKenzie as my 3.
Okay.
So I just don't have Ogunbowale in my 3.
I match you. Rashad Penny, KJ Osborne is my 2 as long as Thielen is out. And my 3 is Hunter Henry.
There you go.
Because I think the Patriots need a statement game, and they're gonna make a statement game on the Jags, and their defense is gonna go off, and Hunter Henry's gonna get possibly 2 TDs. So
there you go.
Which would be the perfect time for him to get him is when he's on your roster, started, when your other tight end is either out with COVID or has not been performing.
For sure.
Because we all know we ain't looking to any of the Dolphins players to try and save us this week. So
you're right.
Yeah. True.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for listening. And you can go find us on all our social media. Obviously, find us on our YouTube. This episode's fire. And you can find us on our social media. We got Facebook, facebook.com/Garden of Sports Podcast. Instagram.com/Garden of Sports. And we got Twitter, twitter.com/GOSPod2021, because they only let you do weird usernames on Twitter. So, because apparently everybody takes the username that we want. So,
true.
All right, thanks so much for listening, everybody, and thank you, Kyle. You've been awesome on our podcast this year, and we can't wait to have you on more episodes next season. Super excited.
I can't wait for the off-season episode we do, where we just sit there and talk about everything that could be and then watch none of it come true, because that seems to be every football podcast does that. And I always love to keep tally as to how right they are percentage-wise. So
I'm excited for the mock drafts. That'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I can't wait. I'm counting down the days.
So thanks so much, everybody, and we hope that we helped you in some small way win your league this year. And it's just been a ton of freaking fun. We didn't know what exactly to expect starting a podcast, but it's definitely been a ride, and we're just kind of trying to keep her on the rails. And it's been very fun navigating this whole season, and we just appreciate everybody listening, and we're excited to bring it to you next year.
Awesome. It's awesome. Well, guys, thanks for having me on. I can't wait. Obviously, you guys are going to continue going with basketball, and hockey right now. Baseball, man, baseball's going to be starting up before we know it. And then even before that, then it's going to be football then again before we can even turn around and blink twice. So super excited, you guys. Good luck with your other seasons, everything, and I can't wait to be back on next season.
Yeah, thank you, man. And thanks everybody else, and we'll catch you later.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.